Welcome to Get to Know, the podcast that brings you creative careers unfiltered. I'm Morgan Williams, producer, art director, and your host. And I started this podcast because I was meeting brilliant people in the industry but had no idea what their job titles really meant. Each episode, I sit down with photographers, designers, creative directors, content creators, and more to unpack what their jobs really involve, the glam bits, the graft, and the everything in between. This is season 2 with brand new guests, panel episodes, and more honest conversations. I'm so pleased to be able to say that this season is sponsored by Capture One, the industry standard software for photographers. And if you're new here, season 1 is waiting for you. My guest today is a creative director who's been shaping the look and feel of British music, fashion, and events since her teens. Starting out as a stylist at just 16, she went on to lead FHM's fashion department at 21 and helped launch Hypebae before founding her own agency, Della Studio. She's built visual worlds for pop stars, creative campaigns for global brands, and unforgettable events for the likes of Maya Jama and Jade Thirlwall. With an eye for detail and a passion for purpose-led storytelling, she's redefining what it means to direct with vision. Let's get to know Daisy Deane. Before we dive in, a quick favour. If you're enjoying the pod, please hit subscribe. It's completely free, helps more people like you discover the show, and means I can keep bringing you honest, inspiring chats with some of the most exciting creatives out there. Thanks so much. Now, let's get into it. So, you're a creative director, and I feel like there's a lot of different kind of job titles and terminology of what that actually means. Yeah. So can you give me like a brief sort of overview on what that means to you specifically?
Yeah, the term can be so ambiguous. For me, it means that I oversee it's so hard. It's different for different jobs. So like I'm a creative director, and that generally in my way, like not like a creative director at a brand where I design clothes, not a creative director in an ad agency who does actual graphic design. I come up with like creative concepts and ideas based off briefs or based off music. So I pull a deck, like a presentation together of all my ideas, and it will be everything from like, if it's for stills, it'll be lighting refs and location references and how I see the whole shoot coming together and who are the people that I'm going to use. Mm-hmm. So it's generally like my idea from my brain that I then put onto a page and say, let's do this. Can you imagine it? And then it all comes to life on a shoot for a video or stills, or sometimes I creative direct events. So like come up with the visuals and ideas and vibe for an event.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely does make sense.
It's a bit of a it feels like a bit of a woo-woo term.
But it's like fingers in many pies, but I guess generally it's looking at what the overall creative vision is, what it's going to look like, and kind of what it's going to feel like as well, right?
Yeah, and like what you want it to put across. Yeah. Generally for musicians, it's like overseeing the artwork that you see on Spotify, coming up with the actual idea for that, coming up with a brief for a music video, making sure that feels on brand for the musician, commissioning logos, making sure typeface on the website is good, overseeing their social media, overseeing their merch, overseeing their stage design. Like I really love it when I can be across a whole music project.
Definitely.
And that's generally become an integral part of like the everyday team. You and management and you and the label are always talking, and that's like where I thrive. But often I'll just get a brief from a brand and they'll be like, cool, this is who we want to hit up, this is who we want to engage, and this is what we're pushing. And I'll pluck an idea from my brain after sitting with it and try and put that onto a page so that they can understand what I'm trying to do. Yeah. And then we make it happen.
Yeah. So you've already mentioned you work a lot with musicians. So I want to talk a bit more about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But let's go back to like your early years. I really want to understand like how you even got into this industry. So what can you tell me about where you grew up and kind of how you got started on this sort of path?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in London and in Newcastle. So quite like two very different places.
Yeah.
I was raised in South London in Peckham in the 90s by a single mum, and she is a massive creative. When I was at school, she went to do a degree of Fine Art at
Oh,
Camberwell.
amazing.
Yeah, so, and she specialised in photography. So I've always been around like someone making stuff. She used to make like jewellery when I was a kid. Like she's just like super creative. And then when we moved to Newcastle and I started, you know, getting into like the education system a bit more, I was a teenager. I was kind of loving textiles, loving fashion.
Yeah.
I was always sort of obsessed with shoes and clothes and jewellery. And my mum had a subscription to Vogue, and I was like rifling through the magazine at like 14 and I saw these names like in the byline, which is like the little like stem of the magazine, I guess.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mum, what are those people? What do they do? And I saw what a stylist was. She explained to me what a fashion stylist was. And I was like, oh, I think I want to do that. And I got like the one book at the time that I could find in Waterstones about fashion styling, read it back to front, and I was like, okay, I think I want to do that. And so I decided at 14 I was going to be a stylist.
Amazing.
And then by 16, I managed to get my first bit of work experience within fashion styling. So I've started out in the industry, but in fashion styling. But that really easily translates to creative director. I was often working with them. Sometimes I would creative direct as a stylist, depending on what my role was. So it was a nice transition.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was kind of always surrounded by someone who sort of could appreciate those things.
Yeah,
And
which is amazing because I think a lot of people don't grow up with that. Like,
yeah,
I definitely didn't grow up with creative people around me.
yeah,
So it's harder for some people to break in. So I guess you had that really early on, which has just helped completely, which is just an amazing thing to have.
my mum was like so key in my career.
Yeah.
She championed me from the off. She totally understood what it was to be a creative and not an academic, and how the certain things at school might not apply to me. And I had to, when I was doing my A-levels, I by that point was working a lot in London, but I was doing my A-levels in Newcastle.
Right.
So I was doing kind of
That
like...
is long travels.
Yeah, sometimes I'd have like 2 weeks in Newcastle, going to school, going to my job so that I could pay for the train to go to London and do a week or two free work experience. But we had to sit my school down and explain that like I wasn't doing Newcastle, I wasn't going to go to university, I wasn't going to do the usual route. So they needed to like not mark me down for not being there. And my mum came into school and did that for me. They kind of didn't get it, the school in Newcastle. They were like, what? But I had one teacher, it's always one teacher, isn't it, that like really championed me, really pushed me to do it. And like her and my mum were like integral to that part of my life, because as soon as I finished my A-levels, 3 days later I moved to London and started a job at a magazine.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So those unpaid work experiences, how did you go about getting those?
The first one, my dad was living in the south of England. He was a tree surgeon, and he happened to be cutting down some trees in London of like a huge stylist.
Oh, wow.
And he listened to me and knew what I wanted to do. And I was like, God, I didn't even think he was listening. And he said, oh, my daughter wants to get into fashion. Would you ever take anyone on?
Like an assistant?
Yeah. And she happened to be like huge, like had done American Vogue, Victoria's Secret, and was an amazingly lovely, kind woman, and took a chance. So I second assisted. So I was like the first assistant's assistant on a Sainsbury's Christmas advert. That was my first ever job in the industry. And I got to London and I was like, what am I going to do? And they were making snow inside this like big townhouse in central London. It was crazy. And so from that, I had one experience. She said, you're great. I'm going to keep helping you where I can. And she also explained to me about magazines, and I didn't really know that that was a thing. And she went, look in every magazine, you'll see the roles of what people do. And sometimes they'll have their email address in the magazine, or if not, you can try and guess it. And so I literally emailed every fashion assistant in Cosmo, Heat, Closer, More magazine. And eventually More magazine got back to me and offered me work experience.
That is such a good piece of advice.
Yeah, I like really, like I emailed, I never went to Cosmo. They never got back to me, but I emailed the fashion editor at Cosmo every single week.
Did you?
From my like library at school. I wouldn't revise, I'd just be emailing,
you'd be emailing.
fashion
Love
people.
that.
Yeah.
Wow. So the internship was with More magazine.
Yeah, it got 2 weeks because they had a team at that point. They had a team of 12 in the fashion department, fashion and beauty, and they had an intern who would manage the work experience.
Okay.
And the work experience were just doing like the bottom of the barrel, basically all the returns of the clothes from the shoots. I met my best friend there that first time. We've stayed in touch ever since.
Oh, amazing.
I was like 17. And then Moore really liked my work ethic and kept asking me back.
Yeah.
And then I was there quite a lot. I also went to Red magazine, the like older women's fashion mag, did a month there. And then different mags did different weeks. It was either 1 week, 2 weeks, or a month work experience. For free, you get nothing covered.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I did a bit of that. And then by the time I was 18, More Magazine's people in the department was shifting. They'd made loads of redundancies and they were looking for a fashion intern that was more of a fashion assistant that had like, you know, a bit more responsibility. They went from a team of 12 to a team of 3. It was crazy.
What did it feel like actually being in the industry at such a young age? Because I feel like probably not that many people get to do it at that age.
Yeah, really young, 16. Yeah, it was kind of like a pinch me moment.
Yeah.
Definitely that first job. And then when I did more jobs with Caroline, they were kind of big commercial jobs. And you're stepping onto big sets, not like small budgets. And I was rubbing shoulders with like some of the biggest fashion photographers.
Yeah.
But like, I've always been kind of confident. I've always trusted in my ability. I think my mum's instilled this, like, you can do what you put your mind to. I had an incredible role model. She built herself up from nothing to like, you know, we were broke in London and then we moved to Newcastle and she built us a really amazing life. So I kind of just had this self-assured of like, go for it. What's the worst that can happen? I'd also moved from Peckham in the 90s to Newcastle. Like that's a really big thing for like a 9-year-old to do.
100%.
So you kind of just have to like get stuck in and make friends. And it was kind of a similar feeling. And I was just eager and happy to be there. So I think that was infectious to the people I was working with. Like
nice.
no ask was too big.
Yeah.
And I, you know, they asked me to go somewhere and I'd sprint. It'd be done in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I was just eager to learn.
That goes a long way, I think, because just being on sets now, like you need those people that are just happy to muck in, get on with it. No job is like too small you know, you need the people to collaborate.
You could have asked me to clean dog shit off a shoe and I'd be like, okay, fine.
Sure.
Like, I was just so pleased to be there. And
exactly.
I think being in Newcastle and coming back to London where I was from, it was a totally different place to where I remember. I didn't go to central London when I lived in Peckham. We just stayed in South London.
Right.
Like, so I was just like, oh my God, I'm back in the city I was raised in and I'm working in fashion and there's music. And it was just like exciting.
Yeah, it's a cool thing at that age. I mean, it's a cool thing anyway, but specifically at that age, I think it's a really exciting point. And where did you live during this time as well? Did you say your dad was still living down this way?
No. My mum lived in Newcastle still, so that was home.
Yeah.
But all my mum's friends lived in London. So like I'd take it in turns. My mum's different friends. One of my mum's friends, Jodie, had a spare room and I'd always go there. And then another friend, Helen, who's like my auntie now. She's like, I've always been super close to them.
Yeah.
They've always just gave me a room. And so
Amazing.
I was staying somewhere for free, which is again a privilege.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been that easy for someone else who didn't have those connections.
Yeah.
So I was really lucky that I had a foundation of people here. But no, I didn't stay with my dad because he lived in Brighton at the time.
Too far away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And you said you were rubbing shoulders with like big photographers and other stylists as well on set. Did that lead to any particular work after, you know, you were doing that assisting?
Yeah. The photographer so Caroline, the first stylist who gave me a job, she worked in tandem with a photographer a lot, which happens quite a lot, as a photographer has a favourite stylist.
Yes, yeah.
And he was a huge photographer. He was doing Sainsbury's for money, but like doing Chanel shoots for love, you know?
Yeah.
So like he really liked me. We got along really well. And that, you know, he was a big personality.
Who was it?
He's called Nick Haddow.
Okay.
He's a really incredible man from Scotland. And he is a really great personality, but he really thought he's like, who's this young chick who's just like up for doing anything? And he then brought me on, like he got me to assist him on a River Island campaign as part of his team.
Yeah.
He was like, you're not on the styling team, but I'm just going to shove you in the styling cupboard so that you can get to know the River Island team.
Yeah.
And then that opened up River Island work.
Definitely.
It opened up all these doors. And then Caroline linked me to Red Magazine and taught me about that. And yeah, all these people did incredible things for me that I'm eternally grateful for.
What do you think it was about you that, made them do these things for you, helped you out in your career? Was it just that you got stuck in?
I think it's a combination of where I got stuck in. I did everything with a smile.
Yeah.
I think I had an edge to me, like I was from London, but from Newcastle. And I wasn't afraid to join in a conversation when you sat at catering having lunch.
Yeah.
I had a flair to me, and I wasn't like a quiet, meek, but I wasn't taking up too much space, which is a real fine balance I find now with people that I work with. Like knowing when to speak, when you're being asked to speak, what to say. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was a go-getter. I would hustle. I got the email from the call sheet and then I emailed them asking them for opportunities. I've always been a hustler like that. And I think that kind of get up and go stands out.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Did you not have any like imposter syndrome at such an early age?
Not that I can't really remember.
Yeah.
No, no. I've recently discovered what imposter syndrome is.
Okay.
And only in my 30s have I discovered it, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a big-headed way. I was just like not deep in it too much.
Yeah.
It's like you are where you're meant to be, do as good a job as you can. I was always focused at the job in hand, like not too worried about whether I was doing it right. I would ask when I was really young, I was like, am I doing this right? How do I steam properly? How do I pin? Yeah, I don't know. I just got
I think
stuck
that
in.
confidence goes a long way though.
Yeah,
Makes people want to work with you.
Yeah, I'm here now.
Exactly.
So.
And then you became fashion director at just 21.
Yeah, crazy.
Tell me about that. How was that?
It was a learning curve. It was a magazine that was big but a small team. So like I wasn't managing a whole team of 8. It was just me and Carlotta Constant, who's an incredible stylist. It was us, and then we'd have interns similar to how I was an intern. So it sounds big, and it was big, but it wasn't as big as it could have been.
Okay.
But I learned a lot. I was working with an incredible team. Me and Carlotta as a fashion team together really tried to like take the fashion department of that magazine in a different direction and try and mold it into something that would maybe engage new readers. That was the whole point of that era, is the magazine's readership was really declining. And what can we do to try and make it more relevant? Unfortunately, teenagers or young 20s weren't buying FHM to get fashion advice. So, we were only there a couple years, but I have some of my best memories. I met some of the most incredible talent. I worked with 50 Cent. I worked with Stormzy before he was big. Lethal Bizzle. That's where I really engaged my music career, was at FHM.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was big. I felt like, oh my God, can I do this? But there was so much to do. You had that for like 2 seconds and you just had to get on with it.
Yeah. I think that's the thing with a lot of jobs that kind of come your way. The more success that you get, it's like you have that minute of doubting yourself, but then you just have to get on with it.
There were parts of it, like the styling and the creative, I knew I could do, but I was writing. I was like editing a section. So I was writing fashion.
Yeah.
And I'd done that in my previous jobs, but this was a lot thicker. It was a monthly. It wasn't just like, go to ASOS to buy this pearl necklace. It was like deep references. And I learned a lot from the team there, the rest of the team, who are now like editor at Time Out or editor at Men's Health. They're all still doing incredible stuff. And they really helped me and mentored me, because they were like, she's great and she's young, but she doesn't know everything. And like, I was a lot younger than everyone. So like certain references, I'd be like, what? Not seen that film.
How did you find that then, being younger than people that you actually like managed and had to lead?
I think it was difficult to begin with.
Yeah.
And then people got to know me, and I think they then trusted me a bit more, or saw that I wasn't coming for them, or me and Carlotta like got into a groove where she understood why I was in the role I was doing, and I understood why she was there, and we relied on each other, and we became a very great team. And we were basically, level.
Yeah.
It wasn't too much of me managing her. I gave her responsibilities and I did mine, and then we came together and did great stuff.
Sure.
But it took some work for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So what was the kind of tipping point that made you focus purely on creative direction and kind of leave styling behind a little bit?
I think I'd got to a point with styling where I was like, okay, I'm doing like global sports campaigns and working with huge American rappers.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, where does it go?
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of like, do I go to LA and, try and you've got a really unique USP as a stylist from London going to America. They really want your like edge and flair and brand knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, do I go there and try and like sweep up? Because I'd been told by lots of people, I'd done a few bits out there, like, come here, you'll get loads of work. Or do I feel like, I just didn't feel like after a certain point clothes were doing it for me enough. Like I needed more.
Yeah.
And when I was at FHM, I was doing creative direction and I was like, I feel like I need a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working with musicians where that kind of opportunity opened up.
Mm-hmm.
So I naturally stepped into it and carried on styling simultaneously. And then the work spiraled and progressed. And I was like, I care more about this. I care more about my business. I can see a future. I can see growth. I can see 10, 20 years down the line with that. With styling, I couldn't see that.
Right.
I was done. By the time I stopped styling, which was like a year or two ago, fully,
Mm-hmm.
I'd been doing it 14 years.
Wow, yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it is.
And I believed in the next generation. I was hiring younger stylists. I was hiring other people and I was like, they could do a better job than me.
Yeah.
I truly believe in getting the best person for the job as a creative and as sometimes a producer. And I'm like, no, it's time to take the plunge. Is that the right term?
Yeah, sure.
Take a big step and
Yeah.
just back yourself and maybe have to start sort of from the beginning again, hustling, getting new clients and retraining everyone because I'd gained a established name as a stylist in London.
Yeah.
And retrain my clients that, no, I'm doing this now and I can do that for you. And yeah, I needed more.
Was that hard to change, like, the personal brand that you'd made?
Perception. Yeah, it was. Yeah. But that's why I opened my agency.
Okay.
To like make it separate from my name.
Yeah.
And like I did that for a while. And now my name is simultaneously with Della.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't style anymore and people get that.
Yeah.
But I mean, even the other week I got asked by a client who used to be at Nike and now he went to another brand and he was like, passed me on to the producer, asked if I would style. And I was like, it's so flattering.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to turn down because the money's good, but my heart's just not in it.
Yeah. No, that's completely fair. And I totally agree. It's all about getting the right person for the job because otherwise the creative will suffer, won't it?
Exactly.
If just one member of that team isn't quite a right fit, it's not going to be the best output.
Other normal careers, you kind of move jobs every 2, 3, 4 years and then the role changes slightly or you progress. And like in the creative industry, you can really easily be a stylist for literally 60 years if you want.
Yeah.
But like, I just felt like because I'd started so young, maybe if I'd gone to uni and started styling at 25, it would be normal to make that change at sort of 35, 40.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just younger doing it.
Yeah, exactly. You've just brought that forward a little bit.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned as well, you got kind of your first music client off the back of your styling work, and then that sort of evolved into creative directing.
Yes.
Their whole sort of like visual identity.
Yeah.
That was Ella Air, right?
It was Ella, yeah.
Talk me through it. How did that all come about and what did you get involved with?
So I was brought on as her stylist after I left FHM
Mm-hmm.
and I was styling her solidly in the end for about 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
such a long
such a
time.
long time. Yeah. And I'm like grinning because we're like best friends now.
Yeah,
and it
that's
was just
lovely.
the most beautiful working relationship I've ever had, I think. We were really trusted each other. We really did some amazing things together. We traveled the world and styled and it was incredible. But yeah, she was at a label and then she left a label and she went independent.
Mm-hmm.
And in that brief independent time, she was going to release music and she wanted to do a press shoot for social media and for like to go in magazines and for artwork. And so she knew that she trusted my creative opinion. And I guess I'd been making murmurs of wanting to do it. I really can't remember now, but she was like, would you be up for it? And I was like, absolutely. Yeah. She's like, I don't.
Incredible opportunity to just come your way.
Totally. And she's like, I can't imagine anyone else doing it. Like, I really trust you.
Yeah.
And we were in such a good sync by then. I knew exactly what she wanted and like had her vision, and I'd been listening to the music. And so I did that for her. And then it went really well. And she was like, okay, I'm going to sign with a major again and we're going to do this whole project. But I like really want you to still do this. So she like went in to the major and was like, I have a creative director and I want her to still be on board when I sign this deal. And so that's what she did. So then I was creative director for a major priority pop act at Island Records and was a key part of that team. It was a big team. Unfortunately for her, that relationship didn't progress into the one she wanted, and she's independent again.
Okay.
But while she was there, I was, integrally her creative director. And then that pushed my name into other people's conversations. And then that's kind of where it spiraled from, because she was like relatively well known.
Yeah, definitely. No, I remember there was definitely a period of time where she was everywhere.
Yeah, so... and she had like Answer Phone.
Yeah.
And the Meghan Trainor song. Oh my God, I can't. That's like Something About Money. Oh my God, Ella, I'm so sorry, I've forgotten the name of that song. But she had some really big hits during that time that I was kind of working with her. And then she did a track with Young Bane, and she released a lot while we were on Island. So I guess it cemented that sort of artistic vision of mine out there to other people.
Yeah. So as someone who has not worked in the music industry, was the act, like the musical act, bringing you on, or bringing someone on as a creative director, not really the done thing? Was it always when she was at the label, when she went to the label, or is it always the label that generally assigns like a creative director to a musical act?
It can be a bit of both these days.
Okay,
that was a long time ago, so I think it was quite new. It was not new. I'm sure they've had it before, but I think the creative director generally, if you're signing a priority pop act, they probably will want to do that creative themselves.
Yeah, of course.
It's not unheard of. It's a lot more common now than it was 6 years ago or whenever I was working on Ella. But it wasn't unheard of. But it was kind of like me and that creative director had to be aligned as well. They were still, the creative director of the label was still involved.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, like they were still, it kind of was what Ella says goes. So in turn, what I say goes. But we still had to work together in tandem to think, like, the creative director at the label had been doing that for years as well. Like, I was relatively new to it. So I wasn't going to be like, no, you're wrong.
Did you learn a lot from them?
I learned a lot from that experience, yeah. We didn't work super closely. It wasn't like a collab the whole way through. But, I learned a lot from that whole experience, being, like, in a major label capacity every week in planning meetings and figuring out who does what. It was a great experience. It was a lot, but it was great.
So talk me through how you actually build an artist's image. So you mentioned a couple of things when we first started talking, but what are like all of the touch points that you as a creative director get involved with?
It depends on each artist.
Okay.
They can kind of decide, but if I'm coming in the way that I did with Ella and how I have done for Rizzle Kicks and other people, you come in and you build out essentially, to begin with, like a brand Bible.
Yeah.
You figure out what the artist wants to say, what they want to get across, what the music's saying, and how they want to portray that visually, what they do and they don't want, people similar to them that they respect, or any references they have, and then you kind of build from there. So with Rizzle Kicks, it was, we're coming back, we're grown, we're older, we are a duo, we're fun, we're lighthearted. That's the brief kind of thing. Grown, but also fun. And references from art and film, because that's who they are. And we built on like a famous duo. We kept referencing other famous duos. That was like the common thread. But we always shot on film, and we kept it feeling sort of like tangible and nothing too glossy. Yeah. They were always really styled really well, wearing certain brands. They were always, having fun. It wasn't too serious. So like, you build up a brand and you see what a brand Bible, you put in this deck what the keywords are that relate to the artist, who their influencers are, who they respect, what their visuals are going to look like, what the photography is going to look like, what kind of photographers you're going to use, what the lighting's going to be like, whether it's going to be film or digital, what their styling's going to be like. Are they going to have grooming? Are they going to have makeup? Are they going to have hair? What's all that going to look like?
Yeah.
What their video is going to look like? What's their social media going to look like? And it all needs to, when you visually look at it, it all needs to be cohesive. It all needs to live in a world, like you're building this world. And it's really hard to describe that without physically showing you a deck.
Yeah, I'm sure.
and seeing how it all comes together. But it's like this one document that everyone in the team refers to: management, publicist, social team, label, so that everyone's on the same wavelength and they get it. So like I start by building that, and then I implement it. I bring on the team, I bring on the stylist, I sit down with photographers, sit down with directors, make sure that their energy will match my artist's energy, make sure there's no dickheads, the big egos. You know, that's really key for me because it can really throw a whole shoot off. Yeah. And make sure that all along the way, everything is on the brand that I want. So like making sure that the magazine's right, making sure that the directors are right, making sure that everyone is right.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like a buffer between the artist and all the other people.
Yeah. Just jumping in quickly to thank the sponsor of this season, Capture One, the tool trusted by professionals around the world and the one I've relied on since day one. Whether I'm producing a shoot, working on edits or reviewing on set, it's always Capture One that I'm opening first. If you want to give it a go, and you should, you can get 30% off for the first year of the all-in-one subscription with code Morgan30. It's valid until the 1st of June 2026. Full details and the link are in the show notes. Now, back to the episode. When the album comes out, there's obviously a creative vision that sort of is all across that album with all of the different songs.
Yeah, it's part of what we call like a campaign.
Okay, so do you build like the whole world for that person and then it's like changes, like little nuances between albums? Is that kind of how it works?
You kind of just do like album to album.
Okay.
That's kind of how the industry works, unless you're on like a Dua Lipa Flex where you know that you're going to churn out 5 albums.
Right, okay.
But like most people are signing an album deal or a 5-single deal or 3 singles and an EP and you get brought on for that specific project.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I'm just trying to think of different musicians and like some of the really well-known ones, I guess. I mean,
sometimes you if you've got enough budget, and you know, it's the best thing to do is to have a creative director as part of your full-time team.
Yeah.
That are across everything. So people like, you know, Charlie XCX, Sabrina Carpenter, they have creative directors that they're so busy that they have to be working on everything. The brand deals, the artwork, the next album, the stage design, overseeing styling. Like if you're someone like those girls who are being styled every single day, sometimes a creative director oversees every single fitting.
Wow.
Because it's all part of the brand.
Yeah.
They send the makeup refs for each red carpet look.
Yeah.
So in a dream world, that's what's happening. And for bigger artists, that will be the case. And they'll be paid by the label and by the artist. But sometimes it's
album to album. Yeah, that makes sense. No, that's really interesting, like how it all works, because it's different.
Some artists like to have you across everything, and they'll be like, oh, this isn't part of the label, but will you help me on this? And you deal directly with them. And obviously if you have a relationship and you love them, then you're going to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
How do you balance the artist's like personal identity with the vision that you want to bring in?
It's a collaboration. It's about 2 things. I'm never going to like push what I think on someone if they don't connect to it.
Yeah.
Authenticity at the forefront of everything is like what I try and do.
Yeah.
So if it's not connecting with the artist and their music, then it's not right. Generally, I get some sort of springboard idea and then I bounce off that.
Sure.
Sometimes I don't, and they're just like, what does this music sound like to you visually?
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, cool, great.
That's exciting.
Yeah, like recently I'm working with an artist and I've got the music and they're like, we need a cool press shoot that's going to be like sick in magazines. Like, what do you think we should do? And I've just like get to be free reign with it. And that's really fun. Like, that's really my vision and my little baby. But most of the time it's a collaboration.
Where do you find your references from as well?
Oh my God, I have so many folders and different things.
I bet.
I have loads on Instagram, like everything is referenced in different specific folders.
Yeah.
Pinterest is incredible. I take pictures wherever I am, like out and about. Like I find real life really inspires me.
Yeah.
Film massively inspires me. Like I'm really inspired by film. So going to the cinema, watching movie,
Nice,
all of
yeah.
that really like inspires me. Art, like I just went to the Gabriel Moses exhibition and I was literally like writing down on my notes like this. London culture, traveling, like if I'm away abroad, I need to do that like as much as I can, because the break also for your brain, but also seeing another culture and being inspired by different cultures.
Yeah, definitely.
But mainly my surroundings, the people around me. I grew up surrounded by incredible peers, like because I was so young when I started. Like the people around me, my friends, are incredible musicians and artists, and they inspire me as well.
Yeah, no, that's really amazing. Have you ever had a client musician that's your vision and what they want has clashed and it's become a bit more of a difficult project?
I've probably had loads. It's not always smooth sailing.
Yeah.
I generally try and get it on the net. The thing with the creative director is you start to build a visual identity as a creative director.
Yes.
So you get brought on board because of your work.
Yeah.
So generally you kind of gel. There's been times where we've had a very clear vision, a very clear creative concept. We've done it and we've shot it. And then that's what's meant to be the album cover, for instance, with this really clear creative, with a storyline, with a meaning. And you'll do other shots and the artist is like, but that one's harder, so let's just use that. And you're like, but that wasn't part of the plan. Look, this is what we planned. This makes sense. And they're like, no, but I just look really sick in that picture. And that becomes the album cover.
Right, okay.
I've had that before.
Yeah.
Who am I to push back? It's your art. It's your vision.
Yeah.
Like, it's not for me to say. It's frustrating that some shoots never see the light of day in the way that they should.
Yeah, fair.
But, I mean, yeah, you can clash. You can clash maybe on videos sometimes of like, I really think we should do this. This makes sense. I don't understand. Please do it for me. And if we hate it, we can cut it. Part of my job is learning how to manage certain clients as well.
Yeah.
But generally, nothing huge stands out in terms of like having to scrap a whole shoot because they don't like it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, so far so good.
So the whole process of building that brand, what's kind of your timeline? How long does that take?
Oh, it really depends on like when the label gets in touch.
Okay.
It can really vary. It can be like, we need to do an artwork shoot in 2 weeks, so can you speed this up and do it really quickly?
Right, okay.
Or it can be like, we're planning a tour in September. Like for now, at the moment, I'm working on something that will be a tour in September. So I start working on it now. What's that, like 5 months? It really varies. The music industry can be really last minute. It could be really over organised. For brands, it'll be like the thing I just did for Adidas and Newcastle United, which was an incredible project for me. It was about the Carabao Cup final. They got through to the final and then there was 2 weeks until the final. So, we're doing a production and delivering it within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So like, and that's no one's fault. It's just how sport works. So it really varies.
Okay.
I like to have, I kind of like a bit of time pressure because it like pressure makes diamonds. Like you have to, and like, I like getting things soon as well and being able to post them soon. I hate, like I've got a project at the moment that we shot in November.
Yeah.
And it keeps being pushed and it's incredible. And I'm so excited for it to come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the album gets pushed, so the shoot gets pushed. So, yeah.
Have you ever had it where it's like pushed so much that then the creative doesn't make sense and you've had to tweak things or reshoot or anything like that?
I've had things, for instance, where you do an artwork shoot and you shoot for 5 artworks in one day.
Okay.
Like single covers.
Yeah.
But because of the way the music comes or release plan, a new song will come in from the studio.
Yeah.
And you've shot with certain artwork, certain songs in mind. And then this new song trumps an old song. And you're like, but that artwork doesn't fit the energy of that song.
Yeah.
So sometimes that happens.
Okay.
It's like, what are we going to do? Are we going to recreate the shoot again, but for this track? Or are we going to do something low key? Or like, yeah, you have to think on your toes about how it still fits in the world. But, you know, you might plan a 30 grand artwork shoot.
Yeah.
And you can't just do that again. Your budget might be 500 quid. And you're like, okay, well, it can't be exactly the same. You have to think outside the box then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Della Studio.
Yes.
So when did you start that? And you said that was kind of to do with changing the perception around you and what you do as well. So yeah, how did all that come about?
It was in lockdown, and I was styling and I was creative directing, and the two were going quite well, but at the same time. And I was like, I think I need to separate my name from my creative direction because it can get a bit confused. So Daisy Deane would be the stylist and Della Studio would be the creative direction.
So you were still offering styling as well at that point? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to seek it, but I was getting it.
Sure.
It was coming to me.
Yeah.
So then I could push Della Studio, like, hey, this is a creative agency. I really wanted to push my creative direction. We do 360 production. We do it all. Like, look what we can do for you. And that kind of made it easier to, like, push that side of my career. So I opened the agency mainly for that. And so I was in a nice position where I had existing clients. I was working with a couple musicians at the time. And so all the creative direction stuff was going through the agency in that way. And then, eventually it took over and I phased out my styling, and Daisy Deane and now Della Studio, I hope, are synonymous with each other. Yeah. And we are the same sort of thing. I'm the director of that company, and we do stills, moving image and events, and we do full 360 service, like ideation, creative direction, all the way through to delivering the final project. We also do like casting, we do talent procurement, we do kind of like plugging people together, you know? Yeah. Sometimes people would be like, I need this kind of person, be like, great, I know this one. Yeah. Here you go. Use that stylist or use that DJ.
Yeah. I guess if they trust you, they're going to trust you.
Yeah, I guess they trust my judgment and my position in the culture that I'm in and
100%.
The career I'm in. I've been here for a while now. Yeah. Not like as long as some people, but, you know, a good stint. So I guess it's just like being a trustworthy name. Yeah. To recommend.
Definitely.
Which is a nice place to be.
Great place to be.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned events as well, which I think is such an interesting part because I think some creative directors don't get to like dabble in events.
No, yeah.
So how did that even come about?
So I was working with a record label who had also a sister management company. I was working on an artist doing her visual identity and creative direction, and their company shared an office with the management company under the same umbrella, and that management company managed Maya Jama. Right. Maya Jama was starting Midge Masks and needed a creative director and someone to come up with a campaign for her new her new product. Yeah. And the label were like, we're working with a great creative director on this artist. And there was this merge where like they wanted Maya Jama to be in the musician's music video. Ah. And then in return, Maya Jama would use this musician's song for free for the advert. Right, okay. So it all kind of came about. I can't remember how it actually turned out in the end. I don't know if it even worked out like that. But basically I got a job with Maya Jama for creative directing her campaign for stills and moving image for her beauty brand. And then I really got along with her management. They really liked what I did. And they were like, we do her Halloween party, obviously. By this point, she'd done it a few times already. And I was like, yeah, like it's the hottest ticket in town. Yeah, yeah. And they were like, would you be up for like doing events and creative directing? And I'd done events for musicians, like single launch parties. I'd done like some influencer dinners for another client. And I guess it's just like we appreciate your taste and the people you bring around. It can transfer to an event. Yeah. And you're good at producing and knowing how that works. So they gave me the job and it was a crazy whirlwind learning experience, the first Halloween party with her. And then I learned each one and I've done 4 now. Wow, 4? Yeah, so like 4 in a row. We work really well together. They really trust me. It's a really fun event to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's obviously a high profile, big event, and that has led on to other events.
Yeah.
So I did Jade Thirlwell's birthday party this year for Little Mix. She was in Little Mix, and she has a big birthday party in a similar vein as Maya's, like private, but sort of not private. Like lots of sponsors and lots of people, lots of DJs and lots of entertainment and a theme. Generally, there's a visual theme. So for Halloween, we get to choose a theme, and I get to be really creative with how we decorate it and what other immersive experiences we can bring into the space. And the same with Jade's birthday. She has a theme, and she's like, decorate it to the nines.
Cool.
How can we have something immersive? How are we going to elevate it? So it's that sort of niche, private themed party that I seem to be doing.
Yeah, no, it's really exciting. So do you literally just get theme and they're like, run with it, and a budget, I'm assuming?
A budget, yeah.
Do you treat it in a similar way to like building a musician's world? For example, you put a deck together, you pull all the references. Do you find like the locations and, you know, everything that goes into it as well?
I take a bit of a production backseat on the events. On Maya's I do, because it's such a mammoth one.
Sure.
I have an incredible producer who suggests the locations and venues. But yeah, we come up with the venue, the theme, the decor, the design.
Yeah.
We manage the sponsor relationships, like the drinks, the food, and the performances, the DJs. It's grown over the years. At first it was just do the decor, and now I do the whole thing. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you get to go to them?
I mean, yeah, I'm there. I'm working.
Sure.
It's a fun job to be at, but it's exhausting. You know, I'm like, over the years, I've done it differently, and I'm there having fun. I know loads of people there, obviously, but I'm on call to put out fires if necessary.
Yeah, of course.
But generally, they run pretty smooth now.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Really good fun.
So what would be like your dream project to come into Della?
Why haven't I thought about this before I got here? A dream, like a big musician, like global reach, big budget.
Yeah.
You know, you can
It's
do
always
anything.
nice to have a big budget.
Yeah, you know, someone like Doechii would be incredible. The next Doechii.
Yeah.
Like someone that's just like reaching far and wide and that is really up for pushing the boundaries, or like a huge rapper like Playboi Carti or something, you know, someone that's really up for doing things. I would love to make more. I have, like, this year and the past couple of years gone more into directing myself. When a brief comes in from a brand that speaks to me and I know exactly what I want to do, I'm like, there's no point hiring a director.
Yeah.
I'll put the treatment together and I'll direct it.
Yeah.
So I would like to direct more stuff that means something to me. You know, I like something that tells a story, that really touches a nerve, or, you know, is about women or women in sport, or just something that really connects with me. And like a really great fashion campaign, you know, that would be on billboards and buses. I've had a few billboards, but I've not had any buses.
I saw you at a billboard the other day in Leicester Square, wasn't it?
Leicester Square, yeah. And I've had some in Peckham, which was a real pinch me moment.
Yeah, nice.
I've had them in Times Square. I'd like a big, you know, like an On Running. I love what On Running are doing at the moment.
Same.
With like
it's amazing.
FK Twigs, or like a Calvin Klein.
Yeah.
You know, I want billboards in New York. I still feel like I don't feel like there's a ceiling with what I'm doing. Like, I feel like I can keep growing, and I need to channel that 16-year-old energy of like, that could happen.
Yeah.
And I feel like the work I've been doing this more recently is more on a scale like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to make videos that connect with people and that cause a stir.
Yeah.
You know, that say something that are interesting and engaging, but have something to them.
Yeah. So you kind of touched on it then, but I know you do a lot of personal projects, or not a lot, but you do personal projects that mean something to you. So do you think it's important to sprinkle those personal projects in throughout paid work?
I think if you can, if you have the luxury of being able to pull in the team or maybe fund it yourself. For me, it's where I can create something that with no boundaries, no limitations. I can create something that I really care about, and I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And I hire the people that I want, and everyone on board is excited about it. And some of those personal projects have really led on to the paid work. They really show people what you can do.
Yes.
And I think it's important for me as a creative director to flex that.
Yeah, totally.
Look, I can push that boundary. I can do that or do this. It's not just within the confinement of a commercial brief or a music brief that someone doesn't want to push the boat. So yeah, I think it's really key, and it's really easy to do cheap. You know, I shot a big campaign on my iPhone. I just graded it.
Amazing.
Like, you can do stuff with the means
Yes.
of the place you're in, the people you surround yourself, a phone.
Yeah.
Just a good idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's key for me, and I think it would be something I'd suggest other aspiring creatives to try.
Yeah. So your International Women's Day shoots.
Yes.
What inspired that?
I love women.
Yeah.
In many ways, and I was like, we just need to be celebrated more, and I just wanted to have a space where it wasn't too deep. It was like, I just want a space where we've got sick female DJs, they're all playing different music, and it's a space where we can all vibe, hang out, let loose, let your hair down, get a tooth gem, get a piercing, have a drink.
Nice.
Without like any restraints.
Yeah.
And it was brought together by a load of incredible women and male allies came. It wasn't just for the girls.
Yeah, yeah.
Just to create a lush vibe. And that kind of was all that it was. But I just didn't see enough of that being done.
Sure.
I was like, usually with International Women's Day, you see events a bit before. And I was like, doesn't feel like people are doing that.
This year there wasn't that much, was there?
So I wanted to create a night where we could celebrate the gals.
Yeah.
And like, that was all it was.
Amazing.
But like, I don't know why there wasn't as much of it. It was really hard to get sponsored. You know, it was hard to find people to support it.
Okay.
They were like, oh, this is really cool, but we don't want to give you any money to do it. And it's like, okay. But eventually I did. And, you know, I worked with an incredible brand, the Hoxton, and they were
amazing,
brilliant to work with.
Yeah.
And they're an incredible bunch of women that run that team. So yeah, it was just like, I kind of like to try and do something every year. One year I did a shoot. One year in between I didn't do anything. But if I can do something to like raise awareness for women, lift other inspiring women up, create a space where people could maybe network or have their voice propelled into a different platform, then I'm going to do that.
And do you market those events? Like, can anyone come, or is it like an invite only?
That event was a kind of a combination of two. It was an invite only, but I did put on my Instagram, like, if you're bold enough to take the email and RSVP, then you can.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of both. That was the first event that was just mine. It wasn't me doing it for someone else.
Yeah, sure.
So I think it's the first of many. I'd like to branch out and do more of it, but it's stressful.
Yeah.
Putting on your own events.
Oh my God,
and you
I
worry
know.
about people turning up.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
I don't know how we'll do it in the future, whether it'll be like a collab between a brand and we do the guest list and we get the right people down, or whether I do an event that's ticketed. I love a free event where no one pays for anything.
Same.
And that's not that easy logistically to do.
No.
But yeah, I don't know what that looks like quite yet, but it's definitely something I'll be
exciting.
exploring more, as well as all my other things.
Yeah, no, amazing. So if you look back over all of your career, what would you go back and tell your 21-year-old self that started at FHM? What's your advice for her?
Oh, what is my advice?
So that's a tricky question to land on you.
Like, do everything with a smile and with grace. And like, trust your gut. Your gut and your intuition is like always on point. And that don't be afraid of like challenges. Like, things feel hard and sticky and uncomfortable, but the best stuff comes from fear. So like, just carry on going for it. And that you're exactly where you're meant to be at the right moment, you know? Like, try not to get too caught up on what's next or what's been, and try and be present in the moment. Obviously, you're working towards a goal, but to just trust that that everything is meant to be because of some universal reason.
Yeah.
I think I've had a lot of hardship in my career of being made redundant twice and switching lanes or opening a business and struggling with finances. And I have learned through every single one of them. They're all incredible learning experiences. So like, it's really hard to remember that in the moment, but I try and push that on myself now of just like, just be present, enjoy it, take the L's where they come, take the W's where they come, and just enjoy it as much as you can.
What do you think is something that people get, or is like a misconception about creative directors that people have?
That we're like these flamboyant people that don't really do anything.
Okay.
I think people think that we just sit there and go, tap, tap, tap on Pinterest. And don't get me wrong, that's part of it, but it's a heavy duty job. It's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
We're not just like sipping matchas in Soho, you know, reading magazines and going, I'm going to tear that out and use that as a ref. Like, there's a lot there's a lot behind the scenes. You're kind of like a glorified multitasker because you're managing all these different aspects of things.
Yeah.
And that not every creative director can use InDesign.
Yeah.
Oop. It's definitely something that I need to learn. But yeah, that like it,
how do you make your decks then? Is it
like different software?
PowerPoint?
Not PowerPoint. No. I'm not gonna tell you. I use Canva and I use Pitch and different things that I can use videos in.
Yes.
But
I do love a bit of Canva, to be fair.
Yeah, it's so basic, but it's so
no, but it's
does
just
the
it
job.
makes your life easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that it's intense, but really, really rewarding. But yeah, I guess that's the misconception.
Yeah. Right. So before we wrap things up, I've got the listener round.
Okay.
So these are some questions that some people have written in, some of my listeners. So, okay, first question. So for people looking to get their work placed in magazines, what advice would you give them?
Oh, see, I'm so a creative director. I'm like, but in what way? Have you already shot the work? Or
let's go with they've already shot it.
If they've already shot it, I think try and get an introduction to someone within the team. Like if you've got a bit of an in, that generally helps. If not, the same thing I did when I was 16, cold call, like just keep emailing.
Yeah.
So with Instagram can be a funny one. Like sometimes it can be a good place to work, but sometimes if people DM me asking for work, I'm like, you can really easily get my email and that's like a lot more professional.
Yeah.
So I would say stick to emailing. But if someone's put something up like we're commissioning on Instagram, then go. But trying to find an email and just sending it to them.
Okay.
Or commissioning it, you're putting it out and seeing if someone likes it, but that generally doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. What if they haven't shot it and they've got a concept and they want it?
Yeah, same. Pitch the concept and say, would you be up for commissioning that? I've done that before and it sometimes works.
Okay, cool. What advice would you give to someone trying to break into either styling or creative direction?
Be prepared to work for free, unfortunately. So like if there's a way that you can fund that by getting a side hustle, part-time job, because if you're starting from fresh, you're going to need to gain some experience. Have some platform to put your work out, like TikTok and Instagram are incredible platforms now that I didn't have quite so much as a kid.
Yeah.
Like TikTok is incredible. You can literally make a film and put it out there and it could go viral and then you can get work from it. Like I got targeted this guy's like stop motion video and then I commissioned him to make work for me. Like it's incredible. It's an incredible platform.
Yeah.
So just find your identity in whichever lane that is and put that across in some sort of portfolio. If you're going to make yourself a portfolio and you've got test shoots you've done with your mates, brilliant. Instagram, make yourself like show what you can do. Otherwise anyone can be a stylist.
Yeah. Okay, this is a question from me, just based off of your answer.
Yeah, go on.
So do you think like a website portfolio is necessarily that important for someone starting off these days?
No.
Would you say focus more on the social media, just get it out there?
I don't know why, but it's so much easier to click on Instagram.
Fair.
The way my brain works, I mean, I am definitely ADHD, but like my brain engages with an Instagram profile more.
Yeah.
I think once you get professional, you do need one. It's just kind of something you have to have, and you can easily do that on a Squarespace or whatever.
Yeah.
But Instagram is key, I think. Instagram and TikTok, if you can just link someone that, and it's just your work, it's really hot. It's literally a portfolio. It's the same thing. It's a grid with pictures.
So true.
So yeah.
Amazing. What are your go-to tools as a creative director? So software, physical tools
Google
that you
verse,
use?
the Google verse.
Okay.
Gmail, calendar, docs, sheets.
Yeah.
Live my life in the Google sphere.
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, obviously bait to say, but real. And I love a good old fashioned magazine.
Yeah.
I like a physical magazine. Canva, as I mentioned, Pitch is great, similar to Canva. Pinterest. There's some other apps that I have that other people have told me to use that are like not so overused, but I don't find their software quite as easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Real life. Like
Go and
sometimes look
experience things.
up from your phone.
Yeah.
Like sit and people watch. Go and sit in Soho, watch the world go by, go and hike in the Peak District.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever interests you is going to probably influence what you're going to make.
Mm-hmm.
So like finding those activities and those hobbies. For me, like nightlife, I'll be at a festival in a club and I'm like, oh my God, that shot's incredible. And,
Yeah.
you know, using
Yeah.
your phone as a tool to capture what's in front of you.
Yeah. Last one. What is the one project you've worked on that you're most proud of?
Oh, that's so hard. It's going to be the one that's most recent. But like, I actually could cry talking about it. It's so lame. The Newcastle United piece I just did with Adidas for the Carabao Cup final.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge Newcastle United fan. It's rooted in so much emotion and so much with me personally.
Yeah.
I really connect with my stepdad on it. I connect with my mum and her where she lives with it. And there's something about the club that's like, there's so much emotion in that club, so much history. I directed a film, like an idea that came from my brain onto the page, barely could find any references to reference what I wanted. I made this film with incredible crew of people I love in the cities that I grew up in, both London and Newcastle. And I got Jade, my friend and incredible pop star, to do this incredible emotional voiceover. And it connected really well with the fans. It went viral.
Oh, nice.
We were all crying. I wanted to make people cry.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like, we can do this. We can win this cup. And then we won the cup. And then I was like, oh my God, I just directed a piece of content for the winning cup, the first cup in 70 years.
Yeah.
Like I could literally cry about it now.
I feel like I can see your eyes.
It's like, and my voice was going. It was a huge moment for me.
Yeah.
And I feel so privileged and honoured and lucky that Adidas and the club trusted me. They went, go do it. They barely even came to the shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And I delivered the project and I'm so happy with it. And, you know, maybe some of the players watched that before they went out on the pitch. You never know. Like to be a tiny part of winning that cup. I'm so proud of myself and so proud of the club and everything. So that definitely will go down in the history books. Like I'll be telling my grandkids about that.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so definitely that. I mean, annoying ITV actually ripped it off.
I saw your post about that the other day.
Flattery, you know, imitation's a form of flattery.
Yeah.
We move. Mine was so much better. But yeah, that piece I'm most proud of.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
You're so welcome.